Hello, this is SJ Talks Tonight coming back at you with another video. If you're new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, please, and thank you. I wanted to expand further on um, the video where I talked about Simone Biles. Um, Black women are bashing her hair again. That one, but I was talking about black people unifying and coming together. And I noticed a lot of people were so focused on when I said people, we're talking about black people, we're talking about some people were so fixated on that. I didn't say black women in the video, but I changed the title of the video. But people were so fixated on that. I think a lot of people missed the point. Some people in the comment section missed the whole point of video. The whole point of the video, what I was trying to make was black people need to unify and stick together. That was the whole point of the video. So I'm gonna further expand on that point. The part of the video where I talked about the black people think that the white man's ice and the white man and the Asian ice is colder. How I talked about how this Asian man said that black people were stupid because they're so quick to support other races, businesses, going and pour money into other race of people's businesses, but will not pour money into their own business, creating their own. And I get it that it's hard for black people to get loans. There's a lot of discrimination, a lot of systematic racism out there. It's very difficult for black people to get business loans and things like that. And I know it's hard, but we can still do it. If we pool our funds together as black people, if we would come together and pool our funds together, we can. There's lots of, matter of fact, black females are more black females are becoming entrepreneurs. More black females are starting black businesses. So it can be done. You know, is it difficult? It's very difficult because there's still a lot of systematic racism. But it can be done. And I know right here in my city, there's a guy that I went to school with. He owns a wing, like a chicken restaurant, like a wings. He sell wings, chicken wings, but he sell fish. He sell chicken wings. He sells fish, and I make sure I get over there to support him. I don't just run the other businesses and not support him. I make sure that I get over there and support the brother. Black man that I went to school with. And he's real nice. He's real nice. And he had a business before in my city, but he closed that business down. And then he went to work for many years, and now he's operating his wing business. And he he is doing real well. He said that he's kind of stressed out and he's thinking about closing. I'm hoping that he doesn't close the business, but he said he might wind up having other people operate the business for him. But I make sure I get over there to support the brother. I make sure that I get over there to support him. You know, I don't just pour money into other white people businesses, and other people races, and don't try to pour in this another business, black hair care, a black hair store, and that opened up in my city too, and I'm going to support that. I'm planning on going to support that. So we need to, whenever, I know in my city there's not a whole lot of black businesses in my city, and black businesses usually don't survive in my city. And so when I see a black business that opens up in my city, I make sure I go and try to support it. I try to support it as much as I can. But the problem with our people, because our people don't like to stick together. We don't stick together. And I talked about the gender war that's going on between black men and black women. And our sisterhood is divided. Black women, our sisterhood is divided. Black women we're not, sticking together like we should. And you would think by everything that we got going against us, society, our own race of men in a lot of cases, you would think that as black women we would stick together more, that we would be more unified as black women and not be so quick to tear each other down. And I guess that's the point that I probably should have mentioned in that video of black women tearing Simone Biles down about her hair and about her husband. Why are black women so quick to do that? That sister's doing great things. She's doing great things, and we should be very proud of her. But instead of being proud, a lot of black women, and I'm not saying all black women, are tearing her down. We, as black people, we need to stop it. This gender war, black women bashing black men, but black men bashing black women, but black women are merely retorting back to black men that are consistently bashing us. They're consistently bashing us and degrading us in the music and consistently publicly humiliating us and bashing us, and black women are retorting back and in turn bashing black men. But at the end of the day, two wrongs don't make a right. Two wrongs don't make a right. And it makes us look very, very weak to other races of people. We're supposed to be the strongest people here on the earth because of everything that we had to endure. Everything that we've had to endure with the slave, our ancestors, everything that, we're supposed to be the strongest people of. And I marinate on this a lot. I meditate and marinate on this a lot, that us black people that are living now, we, our ancestors that came over on the slave ship and everything, and there was a lot of them that didn't survive the voyages. It was many voyages being made because millions of black people were brought over here from Africa, and it's a lot of them that did not survive the voyage. They got thrown overboard. The conditions were so terrible on the slave ships that a lot of them didn't survive. The conditions were horrible. It's beyond what any of us could imagine. The conditions were horrible. They were packed in there like sardines. A lot of them were getting thrown overboard. Some of them, they say, allegedly, some of them were jumping overboard because it was like, I ain't finna be nobody's slave. Bye, and the slaves, our ancestors that survived all that, our ancestors that survived the voyage over here to America, survived slavery. I think slavery went on for 200 and something years. That's a long time. I think slavery went on for 200 and something, over 200 years. So that's a long time. And our ancestors, that us black people that are living now, are descendants of those black people that survived the voyage, that survived those many years of slavery. So my thought is, and I've heard this said by other black people before, that those were very, 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 our ancestors that survived all that, they were very, very strong. God gave them so much endurance, gave them so much strength. They survived all that. We are the descendants of those strong ancestors that survived all that. We are the descendants of them. And I guess the point that I'm making is, we come from very, very, very strong people. We come from a very strong people. We come from people that endured horrific conditions, beatings. We can't even begin to imagine it. A lot of black people have seen the movie Roots, but I bet you it was way more worse than Roots. I bet you it was I mean, it was a very well written book. It was a book. I think I have the book in there. It was a very well written book, very well written script. But I bet you it was much worse than that. I bet you it was much worse than that. It's beyond what any of us could imagine. And our ancestors endured all that. They endured all that. We are the descendants of those ancestors that endured all that. That had an incredible amount of strength. Ain't nobody give it to them but God. God is the one that gave them that strength. We are the descendants of those people. So guess how much strength we gotta have. Guess how much strength we should have. It's because of their endurance, and what they endured is the reason why we have the things that we have now, that we have the freedoms and everything that we have now. It's because of our ancestors that came before us. And is the reason why we have the opportunities that we have now. The civil rights revolution back in the 60s, where black people were basically fighting for basic human rights. They were fighting for basic human rights. They were fighting to, just be able to sit in a restaurant and eat a meal. Being able to just get on the bus and just sit anywhere they want to sit. We can get on a bus and sit anywhere we want. We take those things for granted. But black people were fighting, our ancestors were fighting for that. Basic human rights. Basic human rights. They wasn't asking for, even though land was owed to us, even though they do owe us land, but they weren't asking for that. They were asking for basic human rights. I just want to be able to go. Our ancestors were like, I just want to be able to go into a restaurant and sit down and eat, just like everybody else, without being told I can't be there because of the color of my skin. That's what our ancestors was fighting for. They just wanted to be able to go to a fountain without having to see a sign that says for colors only, or to go to a bathroom. Can we not just go to a drinking fountain without seeing that sign? Can we not just go to a public restroom without having to see a sign that says only coloreds, only whites? See, we take those things for granted. I can't even begin to imagine. I was born in 1967, so I cannot even begin to imagine what it would be like to go to a public restroom and see a sign that says for only whites only, or colors only, or whatever. No blacks. Are you kidding me? I would be appalled. I would be appalled. See, we spoiled. We have no idea. We literally have no idea what our ancestors before us had to endure. And they fought. They were strong. They were strong, and they fought so much, and they fought so hard. And a lot of blood shed. It was a lot of blood that was shed. There was a lot of blood that was shed because they made it better for us. They made things better for us so we can go to a restaurant, so we can go to a drinking fountain without having to, no blacks or whatever. So we can just exist without having to worry about not being able to go to certain places because of the color of our skin. And they say there's still places that we can't go, believe it or not, in 2024. But I'm talking about this was all over, mainly it was mainly in the South, but it some up in the North. The North was a little bit more liberated, but it was bad up north. I mean, it was horrible. I mean, it was terrible what our ancestors had to endure, and the incredible amount of strength that they had to get through those times, and what they endured. They opened the doors for us to have a better life, to have more opportunities. That's what they fought for. All the things that we take for granted now. And we're not taking advantage. When they did Black Wall Street down in Tulsa, but they had Black Wall Streets all over the country. They had them all over the country. But white folks destroyed them. But the black people built it. Tulsa, the one in Tulsa, Oklahoma, was a thriving black community. It was a thriving black community. I see pictures of them before the massacre. I see pictures of them smiling and just thriving. And that part of history was hidden from us for a lot of years. They didn't want us to know about it. And back then, when it happened, they tried to sweep it under the carpet. And I watched the documentary on. I highly recommend all black people to watch that documentary on. It's a documentary on Netflix where they're talking about that. I highly recommend that all black people watch that because it's a real eye opener. And it was a thriving black community. They showed their film clips and pictures of black people are just smiling and they're happy, and it was a thriving black community. And the white folks came and destroyed it. And for many, many, many years, they tried to sweep it under the carpet like it never happened. They tried to erase it from the history like it never happened, because I took a black history class in high school. I took black history class and I took a black literature class in high school. And I don't remember learning about that. I don't remember learning about Tulsa in my black history class in high school. I don't remember learning about it. And it certainly wasn't in my American history classes. We were required to take American history. That was required. We had to take American history and we had to take political science. Those two were required in high school. They were required classes. It certainly wasn't in the American history book. My high school, I certainly didn't learn about it in my high school American history class. And I didn't learn about it I said, well, I want to know black history. So I took a black history class, and I didn't learn about Tulsa in my black history class in high school. And I took a black literature class. I didn't learn about Tulsa for years. I just learned about Tulsa. I don't know about you guys, but I just learned about Tulsa a few years ago. Because the reason why is because, and they talk about that in this documentary, how they tried to sweep it under the carpet. They tried to erase it from the history like it never happened. They tried to erase it for many, many, many years like it never happened. Yeah. Oh, them white folks was dirty. And it was a thriving black community. They did that at a time when black people virtually had no rights. They did it at a time when black people virtually had no rights. So if they could do it then, we can certainly do it now. Now, Atlanta has a lot of thriving black businesses. Atlanta, Georgia is considered the mecca of black businesses and thriving black communities and things like that. That's wonderful. Beautiful. But that needs to happen on a mass level. It can't just be in one city. It has to be on a mass level. It has to be nationwide. Black people need to be doing these things nationwide. It needs to be on a mass level. We need to have black businesses. Did you know in Detroit there's only one black-owned grocery store in Detroit? Now, black people, that's a chocolate city. That's what they call a chocolate city. That's a chocolate city. High percentage of black people lives in Detroit. But there's only one black-owned grocery store there. That's a shame. That's a shame. That's a shame. They should have they should have so many black owned grocery stores in that city. And it's really really sad how, and then when our people do start a business, when our people do start a business, then our people act like they don't want to support. They act like they don't want to support. And then they always looking for a hookup. Stop looking for a hookup. Black people need to stop looking for a hookup. Stop looking for freebies. Just because someone that owns that store is the same race as you. Do you go into the white man's establishment and ask for a hookup? Do you go into the Asian man's establishment and ask for a hookup? No, you don't. You don't expect white people to give you freebies. You don't expect Asians to give you freebies. Why are you expecting your own people to give you freebies? And then we got every excuse in the book why we don't want to support our own. Oh, their prices are too high. No. You just think the white man's ice is colder. You think the Asian man's ice is colder. Dr. Claude Anderson said that. We think that we think the white man's ice is colder. We think the Asian man's ice is colder. The Arab ice is colder, and we don't want to support because around here and that's all over the country. Used to be in my city they had mom and pop stores, black owned, and they were black owned. They were black owned mom and pop stores, and now them Arabs own them. It's a store right around the corner from me, right now as I speak. That it's a neighborhood grocery store, and it's owned by who? The Arabs. You know, they sell liquor. You know, they sell liquor in there. You can go in there and get your liquor, your smoke, and all that. It's kind of like a grocery / convenience store. You can go in there and it's right around the corner from me. Arabs own it. You can go in there and get your smoke, your liquor, all that. This is very lucrative. It does very well because black people are constantly running in there all the time. You know, we unfortunately don't have any black-owned convenience stores around here. But if we did, I wonder would they get a lot of support? Black businesses typically don't survive in my community because black people don't want to support. And it's in communities all over the country where black people don't want to support their own. We're so divided that we don't want to support our own people. It's sad. We think the white man's ice is colder. We think the Asian ice is colder. We think the Arab ice is colder. But we don't want to support our own people. We got every negative thing to say when a black-owned business goes up. We got every negative thing to say about them. Well, their prices are too high, or this or that, and this and that. So the brother that I went to school with that has a wing store, I get over there and support him every chance I get. You know, I try to, because of dietary reasons, I try not to eat that kind of food all the time. But I try to support him as much as I can. You know, I try to support when a black business comes up in my community. I try to support them. And we all need to be having that mindset. And we need to support each other more. Because the immigrants is pouring in, guys. The immigrants are pouring in. In Chicago, they're protesting right now as I speak because they're moving the immigrants into black communities, poor black communities in Chicago. They're moving in the immigrants, and it's my prediction. I think that Detroit's population right now, Detroit has 600 and something thousand people. They went from 2 million to 600 and something thousand people. They had a major population drop. 2008 when the market crashed and all that. It's been downhill ever since for Detroit. Detroit's population is going to go back up. And guess who a lot of the people are going to be living there? It's going to be the immigrants. small cities like mine are going to get more populated because people are going to start coming into the smaller cities because it's getting more and more difficult to live in these bigger cities. And it's all these immigrants coming into the country. Yes, our cities are gonna be more populated. Even our smaller cities are gonna get more populated. I think that's what's going to happen over the next 15 to 20 years because the immigrants are coming in, they're pouring into New York, and it's like it's out of control. They just can't stop it. They're pouring into New York by the thousands, and they're slowly branching out to other parts of the country, and they're going to try to push out the black people in places like Chicago and other major cities across the country. They're going to try to push out the black people, and they're going to be moving in these immigrants. And what's going to happen is they're going to be trying to take over our communities. The immigrants are going to try to take over our communities. And if we're not unified, if we are not unified, we're going to be we're going to be in bad shape. We're going to be in bad shape if we're not unified. We got to get unified, and we got to get unified now, black people. We got to start having more love amongst each other. Because if you pay attention, see, we so distracted worrying about Diddy and all this other crap that we shouldn't even be, you know, leave that stuff alone. Let God deal with that stuff. See, we're so distracted. We're so distracted that that's what they want. They want us to be distracted. They want us to be distracted. See, that's what they want. They want us to be distracted. They want to keep us distracted. By this election, and people so busy talking about Camellia. Let's see, that's what they want us to be distracted. Because they don't want us to pay attention to what's really going on. See, the immigrants are slowly moving into these communities, and they're taking over. They're going to take over. Then what are we going to do? What are we going to do if we're not unified? We rely on the white man for everything. We rely on other races of people for everything. We don't even have a huge stake in the hair care industry. The hair care industry is $1 billion industry. This video is going to be long. The hair care industry is $1 billion industry. We don't even have a stake in that. We have a very small stake in it. We don't have a big stake in it at all. And it's $1 billion industry. Selling our hair products and stuff to us. We should be selling our hair products and stuff to us. Because this one over in like I said, there's a black one on one that opened up. I'm going to be supporting them. And there's the one that Arab or Asian or whatever they are. And I went to that store a while back ago, and they was looking at me like I was going to steal something. And I'm not going in that store anymore. I'm going to support the black-owned one. And there is a lady that owns one here, but she's kind of she's not black, but she's kind of has been a staple in the community for many, 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 many years. So I don't have a problem with supporting her. But what we need to do, and they did it in one black community. They did do it. I can't remember where it was at. They stopped patronizing a black hair care owned business. It was owned by another race. They stopped. They boycotted it. They stopped going there. They shut up. It shut down. If my memory serves me correctly, I don't remember what city it was in. They shut it down. Then the black people went in and reopened it back up. And it was a long line. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful sight to see. And I can't remember what city it was in, though. See, this is what we can do. This needs to happen on a mass level. Just boycott them. Just stop going. Eventually, they're going to shut down. When they shut down, then we swoop on in and move on in and reopen the business. If you got to get 2 or 3 black people to come in and go in with and pool your finances together and go in together, swoop in, reopen it back up, Bam, there you go. Now, at the distribution level, it's very difficult for black people to get, because there's discrimination at that level. They try to block us in that at the distribution level. They try to block us at the distribution level. Yeah. So it is hard. It's difficult, but black people can do it. It can be done. Even if you got to go to other cities and purchase things and bring them back to your store. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Well, I don't mean no animal abuse. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I'm not talking about abusing animals here. Don't come for me. But it's a figure of speech. But there's more than one way of doing things, is what I'm trying to say. There's more than one way of doing things. Okay? But we got to put our heads together. It can be done. It was done in that city. They boycotted them. They closed up. They swooped in, went in there, opened up the business. We opened the business, and it was black owned. We can do it. Another thing we need to stop doing is selling our major corporations to white people. Stop selling our major corporations. BET is owned by some white people. Tyler Perry did try to buy it, but they kept upping the ante. They kept upping the price. They kept upping the price to the point to where he couldn't afford. See how dirty they is? They're dirty. I'm telling you, they're dirty. Tyler tried to buy it. He did try to buy it, but they kept up and increasing the price, so he couldn't get it. They didn't want him to get it. The reason why is because they didn't want him to get it. But we have to stop selling our black-owned corporations to white people. This is how they play us. See, this is how they play us. We gotta learn to be smarter, and more strategic. Because a lot of things are put into place so white people can stay on top. Other races of people can stay on top. And they want to keep us at the bottom. But we're going to stay at the bottom, and we're going to be in permanent underclass status, if we're not already, if we don't start sticking together and we don't start doing it now, and we don't start unifying. We need to strengthen our black families. I'm not against interracial, but we need to strengthen our black families. We need to strengthen our black families, and fathers need to start taking more of an active role in raising their children, whether they with the mama or not. We need to strengthen our family. Our black families need to be stronger. We need to educate our young people, and we need to educate them on the history. Stop depending. Oh, my hand is getting numb because I'm holding this thing. Stop depending on the white people to teach our children our history. They already told you they don't want to. They eliminated, especially in Florida. They're eliminated. They're taking it out of the programs. They didn't already told us they don't want to teach it. Now that don't tell us something nothing will. Okay, well, it's up to us, and it's our responsibility, the elders in the community, to teach the young people about the history. We need to be teaching our own people. And everybody want to knock Brother Umar for trying to open up the school. He's going by donations. Well, he ain't got no school. Why is it taking so long? It's because he's doing it strictly on donations. Do you know how long it takes to build something on donations? He's doing it strictly by donations. That's why. He don't want the white man's money. He's not going to do government funding. He don't want the white man's money. He's not taking the white man's money. Because when they give you some money, they want to tell you how to run stuff. If he take grant money, then they're going to be trying to tell him how to run stuff. He doesn't want it. He don't want to do that. He doesn't want to do that. Okay? So he's going strictly by donations. That's why it's taking so long. He's doing it strictly by donations. Black people should be doing this stuff all over the country. He shows the progress of the school. He showed the HVAC going in. He shows the process of the progress of the school, but nobody still want to believe him. Black people steady be shooting him down. Now he does have a lot of black people that support him, but there's a lot of black folks that steady shooting him down. You try to do that in your city. Try to take one of your abandoned schools in the city and turn it into a school for black children, but do it based all on donations. Because you know how black folks, we don't want to support each other. So how fast is that process going to go? It's not going to go very fast. And he's operating strictly on donations. And he could be pouring some of his own monies into it as well. That's why it's taking so long. We don't want to support the brother. We want to shoot the brother down. We want to shoot the brother down. He's like our modern day Malcolm X. I was talking to my mother the other day, and she was asking me. I mentioned I was watching one of his videos, and he was talking about coming, closer into my neck of the woods. And I said, "Ooh, Umar Johnson," And she said, "Who's Umar Johnson?" And I said, "Well, he's like the modern day Malcolm X." I said, "He's like 2024 Malcolm X." I said, "He's kind of like Malcolm X." And I know she knows who Malcolm X is. So. So we got to do better, people. We got to do better. We got to start supporting one another. We got to stop all this. We got to stop this. If we don't start unifying, I'm telling you, we're going to be in trouble. Over the next 10 to 15 years, we're going to be in trouble. If we don't start unifying, we rely on everybody else. We need to have our own hospital too. All the discrimination in the healthcare system, we need to have our own hospital. I think Umar mentioned that the other day. We need to have our own hospitals. We need to try to we got work to do, black people. We don't have time for this. We don't have time for this gender war crap. We don't have time for it. We don't have time for who shot John. We don't have time for it. We don't have time. We don't have time. We got to get it together. We got to get it together. And that is the point that I was trying to make in that video, but it was a lot of people that because I talked about Simone Biles briefly in the video, a lot of people got off track. So now I'm expanding on that, and our sisterhood needs to be stronger. We got to get it together, people. We got to get it together. And then Umar was talking about today how when white people get with black people, they're not interested in standing up for black causes. And I did mention that in one of my other videos. I just can't remember what video it was. That when black people get into interracial relationships with, or when white people get into interracial relationships with black people, they're not interested in going up to bat for black causes like police brutality, what just happened to Song and Macy. They're not interested in how many of them out there on the picket lines with the black people. And Umar just raised that question. I said, that's an excellent question. And I did mention it in one of my other videos. I just can't remember which one it was. When white people get with black people, white males and white females, they don't seem to be interested in going up to bat for black people, standing up for our rights and all these kind of things, and helping us doing what we need to do in the community. You ever notice that? You never noticed that? Some of them maybe, but not a whole lot of them. I'm not against interracial. Love who you love, but when you get with a white person, you got to make sure they down. They got to be down. They got to be down. It's not enough for them to just be with you. They need to be down. And that's the point that Umar Johnson just raised that question in one of his videos. This is an excellent point. It's an excellent point. And they had white people, the freedom riders back in the 60s. There's white people that literally lost their lives because they were the bus thing. It was white people that literally lost their lives because they were out there protesting and everything and boycotting along with the black people, and they lost their lives. And I take my hat off to them. But how many white people now are willing to do that? Particularly the ones that are in relationships with black people. How many of y'all are willing to go up to bat, to go out there and boycott or whatever, do whatever that needs to be done to improve things for the black race? And a lot of them are doing that. And that's problematic. So that's something to think about before you consider getting into an interracial relationship. You know, it's something to think about. It's that history between black and white. Okay? And we need to have stronger black families. This gender war between black men and black women needs to stop. It needs to cease and desist. We need to cease and desist that. And we need to have more love amongst each other. God said, what did God say? He says, have love amongst each other. We are being disobedient. All of us act like we so holy. We running around here acting like we so holy. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Okay, how many black people run around and act like they so holy? But then so quick to shoot down another black person. Verbally. I'm not talking about just firearm. I'm talking about verbally. Another black person like the brother Umar trying to do something positive. But you shoot him down every chance you get. You come on and bash him. Only thing I had a problem with, I love brother Umar. I love him. But the only thing I had a problem with was him not addressing black femicide like he should. He did, I give him credit, he did mention it, but he's still not addressing it. He's still not addressing it like he should. That was the thing I had an issue with. Some things I disagree, but most of about 80 to 90% of what Umar talks about, I agree 100%. I love brother Umar. I love him dearly. I love and I admire his passion and what he's doing for the black community. We need to have like 1 million more of him. We need a million more Umar Johnsons. And black folks, you got black people. Now he do got a lot of black supporters, but then he got black people that's steady shooting them down, coming here on YouTube, shooting them down. Where is that school? Coming in his comment section. Where is that school? Umar is only one person. He's only one man. There needs to be 1 million more like him. Needs to be black females too. But we gotta unify people. We gotta stop all this. We gotta stop all this. We gotta start waking up and paying attention to what's going on. Stop worrying about these black celebrities, Tyler Perry and all them. Stop worrying about them. They rich. They rich. They rich. Stop worrying about them. And be more concerned about what's happening in our communities. And stop all this finger pointing. It's all black women. It's all black men. Well, the black men are supposed to be the leaders. Black men are supposed to be the leaders of our community. But if black men and black women work together, our kids will be stronger. Our kids will be better. If black men and black women will come together and work together for the greater good of the community, our children will be better. Our children will be in a better situation. Okay? So that's something to think about. I don't want to make this video too long. It's long. That's the point that I want to make, that I want to drive to home. Black people, we need to wake up, and we need to do it now. It's getting down to the wire. I don't know how many more signs we need to see. I don't know what it's going to take for a lot of black people to wake up. But we got to do it now, black people. We got to do it now. We got to stop all this hatred amongst each other. Because if we start walking in obedience and start having more love amongst each other, God will bless us. He will bless us. He will give us knowledge, and He will give us the tools and the resources to do what we need to do. He will do it. He will do it. But we got to walk in obedience. We got to start being more obedient to God. And we got to walk in obedience. So I'm going to leave you with that. Um, Let me know what you think in the comment section. I love you, black men. I love you, black women. Hit that like, subscribe, and share. And notification bell. Until the next video, you guys be blessed.